everybody, and welcome back to the Flagged Off podcast. We've had a long week break with the international break. How are you guys, Shashank and Nirshan?
Good weekend. How are you?
Good. Haven't had the chance to get some rest, even though we were given the opportunity to. Nirshan, how are your deadlines looking?
Horrible, bro. Horrible. Hectic. Really hectic.
Okay, and I have to mention that our co-founder Gautam is missing. He's busy counting the notes for Musk. Do you think he'll be back next week?
Hopefully.
He just forgot the fact that we're going to record the episode now.
Well, he has to be back for next week because it's Chelsea United next week, right?
Chelsea United, yeah.
What a sincere and dedicated co-founder we have in him. Okay, guys. Anyway, so we'll have just a quick episode this week, and it'll be 3 segments. We'll have the game week rundown, we'll touch up on the Champions League, and we'll end up with Fergie time as usual. So looking into the game weeks, I think the fixtures were looking good, but the results have not been, the games have not been as entertaining as the previous weeks. But this week does deliver a lot of results which decide on whether the title race is going to be short or longer, but we'll go into that a little. So with the key results, Everton get a result against Liverpool, hold on to the unbeaten run at the top of the table, 2-2. Chelsea, miserable draw at Stamford Bridge. We'll get into that. City, Pip, Arsenal. Nirshan, any thoughts on that before we go in?
Well, it was actually a very surprising game, given the way Pep set his team out. I think he's been learning from. I guess it's because it's what master was his apprentice, right? So this manager knows what Pep knows what Arteta thinks, and Arteta knows what Pep thinks. And Pep actually surprised not only Arsenal, but I think everybody else by the way he set the team up. So it was a good tactical battle, but unfortunately it did not have the intensity or the goal fest to show for it. If it was like a 3-2 or a 3-1 or something like that, it would have been much more engaging and entertaining. But from a tactical point of view, it was very, very engaging.
Shashank, do you think it's safe to say that Pep has drawn first blood?
Yeah, I think he studied the games that occurred last season, the way Arsenal set up against City in the FA Cup, and he made that slight change. Yeah, as Nirshan mentioned, the tactical change where we didn't even understand the first 15-20 minutes while watching the game what formation City are playing, and the only thing I noticed was Ake was playing almost like a left back, and Kyle Walker was playing like the second centre back, and sometimes Rodri also tried to come in and play as the third centre-back option. But I thought Arsenal would surely attack Rodri and Kyle Walker and, kind of counter. But actually, Walker did a really good job against Aubameyang. I think his whole job off the ball was to just take care of Aubameyang. And then on the ball, he kind of played like a centre-back. So it was really surprising. It was not, as Nirshan mentioned, not the goal fest that we expected, but it was Pep. He knew what Arteta was going to do, and he made that change to surprise Arteta. So it was good to see Pep back to his form, because usually in the Champions League his stuff doesn't work, but this time it worked.
Yeah.
This time it worked. Okay, guys. So moving on from that. So otherwise, we had lot of draws this week, so I'm not going to go into that. And another fixture that we will be discussing is the Spurs West Ham game. So let's start with the first key fixture, Everton Liverpool. Guys, what do we say about Everton at this moment? Yes, we know Liverpool did play well and all that, but first I want to just get through with Everton. What does this mean for Everton? Do you think they are going to get into the top 4? It's way too early. Yes, that's what we all said when Leicester won the title. But where does this stand? Is it too early, or would you count them in as just a top 6 side or a top 8 side? Shashank?
I think still it'll be a top 8 kind of thing where, I don't think they're going to sustain this form throughout the season. There'll be another international break in a few weeks, and then it's Christmas period where it's going to be really, really hectic during the time. So it'll be a big challenge for them. But I think this season now, with whatever has transpired, anything could happen. It could be one of those Leicester seasons again. We thought Leicester season was one in a century kind of season, but it looks like with
it was the start of everything.
Exactly, it was the start of everything, but because of multiple external factors this time, for example, no crowds, no preseason, And then like because of no crowds, there's no home advantage now. So kind of it's changed the whole scenario of how the title race usually goes. And with multiple injuries again because of the lack of preseason, it's going to be a great season ahead. But I think we should still wait and see about Everton. The only big advantage they have is they have a manager like Carlo Ancelotti who's already won the Premier League. So he has the experience, but the squad still might not have the depth to get through a 38-game season.
Okay, I think, like you mentioned, the most key important point there would be that going on, they might not have the squad depth to carry out what the Premier League requires of you if you want to win the title. But Nirishan, before I come to you, Sashank, one small thing what I just wanted to ask you about that was, to us football fans, we've always had this question where the other people from outside the industry ask us this question: what does home make of a difference in a football game? And as fans, we've never been able to point out that this is the answer. But do you think with us missing all the crowds right now and the away win percentage staying at 46%, do you think it's right to say that fans decide the outcome of the home game? Or is that still a very outrageous statement?
No, it's just that it has an effect, right? We know that the fans sometimes, as there's a proverbial term where they're the 12th man, which sometimes is true. But for example, like just a few kind of stadiums like Anfield, for example, we know Anfield. It's like we remember the way City were welcomed a couple of years back, by thrashing their bus and everything. So it has an effect, and we saw that game. City within the first half an hour they conceded like 4 goals. So these kind of things have an effect. Maybe Old Trafford is not one of those stadiums right now. The old Highbury, for example, Arsenal Stadium, that was one of those great stadiums. So White Hart Lane used to be a good one. West Ham's old stadium, that was a good one. So there are a lot of stadium release which Fulham, for example, their home ground, Craven Cottage is such a small ground, and so there's so it plays an effect. But I think it's just that it has an effect on the players too, right? So the players sometimes when the fans yell out, their alertness, that's probably missing, but they still have their staff and the players there. There's some sort of effect, but we don't know what kind of tangible effect it has. Because I think the average, like you mentioned, 46% away win percentage. I think the average till now in the Premier League was in the 20s. So 26%. So I think we see a significant increase.
So as long, I think I'm okay with your answer, and I would like to go by everything till you mentioned Craven Cottage, because Craven Cottage is more of an iconic thing rather than a contributing factor in terms of being a 12th man. Because I have not seen any great results or any amazing things.
United,
Come on,
United were down to 9 men. Rooney and Cole sent off.
Rooney was sent off for different reasons, so we're not even going to get into that. Anyway, so moving on to you, Nirishan. I just want to ask you one quick question related to the game before I throw both of you guys a general question. What did you make of the Pickford tackle? Like, people have been going really over the top with he's saying he deserves a red. Liverpool fans, as they're on Twitter, they're going on taking it personal, trying to call him out, saying he deserves the death penalty and everything. What do you make of the Pickford thing? And is Pickford really in the same bracket as Kepa at the moment?
Well, yes. I've never had. I don't know what Gareth Southgate sees in Pickford when he selects him for the national team, because I think he's a liability. And the only reason why Everton were like the only weak link that I can see in Everton, given their personnel that they have, is Pickford, in my opinion. Now, coming to that incident, yes, it should have been a red card. A foul should not be given only if they are in play, in the sense that they check for an offside. If it was an offside or not, it still was an illegal challenge, or like a challenge that is not you're not expected to make. So like we've seen Eden Hazard being sent off because of a play, not even a play, like because of an incident that took place off the field with the ball boy. All right, but this was on the field. They were checking for an offside, and it should have been given. There have been several people who've had their legs broken over the course of since the Premier League started. But what I find really shocking is the way the media has taken to Liverpool, and right now they are calling for player protection. The media did not utter anything when Luke Shaw broke his leg, when Andre Gomes broke his leg, when Ramsey broke his leg, when so many people broke their legs. The media did not say anything. They were like, it's just part of the game. But now this guy just gets his ACL torn, which is something that even Benjamin Mendy had his ACL torn, and they did not say anything. But now they're like, no, we need more player protection. Referee should come and intervene. This, that. The application of VAR was wrong in this situation.
Exactly.
And then the media comments post game with regards to player protection, again, that was over the top in my opinion. If it should be consistent throughout. Everybody should be protected by the referee, and that's the whole point of having a referee in the game. Otherwise, this is just going to be a bloodbath over there. They're going to, I don't know, it's going to, I'll be more of a crossover between American football and football. Like, if there is no referee. Yeah. So that's my thought on the game. That was thought on the incident. Sorry.
Yeah, and some of these people calling for like Pickford should be banned as long as Van Dijk comes back from injury. I'm like, did Ryan Shawcross wait for a year till he came back? So this is just, it happens. These things happen during a football game. It happens. Sometimes, people tire their ACL. It happens. It was an awful challenge. He should have been sent off, all fine. But you can't have people suddenly acting as if it's the first ACL tie that's ever happened in the game. So it's just a bit over the top.
I just want to add one more thing. Sorry, Shashank. I just want to add one more thing. Like in March, Van Dijk nearly made a similar challenge on Gerard Deulofeu. And that time there was nothing. There was nothing doing. I actually when I was scrolling through Twitter, a lot of people were saying that he made not the exact challenge, but a very similar challenge, a rash challenge on Deulofeu. If they had implemented that so-called rule where the player is banned until a player makes recovery, Van Dijk wouldn't have been playing this game.
Yeah, it's a bit over the top the reactions there, but it is how it is. It's the champion and it's their main MVP player. So kind of it's how it is.
So I think the main complaint there was VAR not giving the red. If VAR had given Pickford a red, things would have been played. The reactions wouldn't be this much. But anyway, guys, whatever it is, so that tackle now could decide what happens with the Premier League. So I just want to ask you guys the most important question. I think we've been asking this over the last 4 weeks slowly, but now it's time to get it out of the open. Is that tackle going to cost Liverpool the title? Yes or no? And what is the reasoning behind your answer?
I'll start. I think with respect to what Van Dijk, Liverpool squad, is his passing ability. Like Liverpool, they don't depend on their midfielders to create. They just get Van Dijk and he plays that across the field ball, or he just kicks it into space so that Mane and Salah can run into to receive the ball. Right now they have Thiago to do that, and they also have Henderson. If you look at Liverpool's goal against Chelsea, Henderson played one ball upfield, which Salah latched onto and he scored. Now, with respect to defense, I think they do not have someone who can replace Virgil van Dijk with respect to what he brings to the defense, the defensive aspect of the game. That's where they're going to struggle. I don't think there's going to be much impact on their attack, their attacking output, but with respect to the defense, yes. Will they stutter? Yes. I don't think they're going to have this. It's going to be an easy walk for them, like how it was last year. They will stutter. Every other team is also stuttering, and Shashank said, I don't think Everton are going to sustain for the longer run. Aston Villa also, although they look like a very different team from the past, where they were very easy to play with. Right now, Aston Villa look like 3-4 times what they were previously. So this season is going to be very open, and I'm hoping that at least until Christmas we have a very close table where one win decides 3 or 4 places, and it's just not that even if it's a defeat, the team at the top stays at the top, like how it was last year with Liverpool. So I think just every team will have to be on the toes this year to actually move up the table.
Okay, Shashank, so Nirushan has said that Liverpool are going to have a stutter, but they will retain the title. That's what he says. What are you saying?
No, I don't think. I think it's going to be very tough for Liverpool because it looks like Van Dijk is out for the whole season.
Yeah, it is. It's confirmed. He's out for the whole season.
Yeah, confirmed. He's out for the whole season. They have to play Champions League too. So it's going to be big task for Liverpool. And I think, they're going to be similar to the side they were before Van Dijk and Alisson came in. Right now, we have to remember that Alisson's also not fit till, I think, November, the next international break.
Yes.
So they're going to be basically like the team who either wins 4-3, something like that, or, they lose games because they're not going to win. Because last season, the reason they won the title was they had so many 1-0 victories. Yeah, and that was mainly because Van Dijk, was there at the back organizing and orchestrating the defense. So it's going to be pretty tough because Gomez, when you play with Van Dijk, he's okay. Matip, when you play with Van Dijk, it's okay. But when you play Matip and Gomez together, it's like really bad. So it's going to be a big challenge. But I think this time, till last week when they played a couple of weeks back when they played Arsenal, I thought this Liverpool team is winning the title for sure. But this injury, that one guy that they don't want to get injured, has got injured. So it's going to change the landscape. The favorites are going to be City, but I don't know who else could come in. Spurs have a great squad. So Spurs, if Mourinho can build them up, there's a chance. But I think City are the favorites. What about you, VK? What do you think?
So actually, I was also, like I said, I was hoping that Liverpool wouldn't retain just for the sake of us hating the Cop so much. But I think with the Aston Villa result, the way it went down, yes, it could be an off result, but the champions going and losing 7-2 does never happen. And if you can have a setback the following weekend immediately on another away game, then I really think that Liverpool might not be ready yet again to retain it with the fixtures being congested and them being in all tournaments. So with the results and what has happened, I think Liverpool are not going to retain the title this year. But like you said, it's going to be really, really, really unpredictable. We
Who do you
don't.
think is going to win?
Everton. Everton. So
See-
I was actually looking in Twitter. There was one guy who, like, in the previous game week, he posted the last time Liverpool lost 7-2, Everton won the league title. Like it wasn't Premier League then. It was that normal, like the first league or something.
English league.
So it looks like history is repeating itself.
Yeah. Actually, I wouldn't mind Everton winning the title just to see
Oh,
Liverpool
come
win the title.
So anyway, guys, with that, let's wind up the Everton-Liverpool game. Before we move on to the next fixture, Chelsea versus Saints. What do we make of Chelsea, man, at this point? They have been like the most unpredictable side after all the signings they've made, and they've had brilliant starts to the game. There are glimpses of them at least saying that we're the best team on paper, but they cannot close out the game. So, Nurushan, what is Chelsea's obsession with the number 3?
I have no idea. Ever since they got a sponsor, it's been like, I think they won one game 3-0. Then West Brom was a 3-3 draw, and now another 3-3 draw. And I have no idea what that obsession is. But
Last season they had a West Ham 3-3 draw too.
again,
Yeah.
I think it was written even in the stars last season itself that they're going to have like a lot to do with the number 3. But Chelsea moving forward, I don't think they will have any issues with respect to that attack. It's always going to be the defense that lets them down. Even in this game, like you look at the Che Adams goal, that was a prime example of how you should not defend. That Che Adams goal, like you cannot expect a top 6 team or team that's like actually like in the top half of the table at least to be defending like that. There was a blunder by Rudiger and of course Zuma. Zuma, and of course that was backed up by the ever constant Kepa. So the goal was good, but the way it was given to Southampton was poor. And again, like I don't know what's going on with Chelsea. Like, they have the firepower to actually outscore teams, like the smaller teams in the sense. Like you expected them to win against West Brom, but then they went 3-0 down and then they had to claw their way back to a 3-3 draw. Then again, they took a 2-0 lead here, but then again they ended up drawing the game 3-3. So I don't know what's going on.
Too many just individual different mistakes. Yeah. And then they concede these so many shots, and then Kepa can't save those shots. So it just goes in. Like even the last goal, like Walcott hit that shot, and then Vestergaard headed it. But those are avoidable moments, all these. Yeah. But I like the fact that Lampard started Werner in the middle because he can't be playing Tammy Abraham and Havertz at 9 and 10. It can't work. He has to
Yeah, it
play
is.
Havertz and Werner so that they can the interplay is better. Pulisic on one side and probably Ziyech on the other. So that's the way they can go. But the defense, I don't know. Until they sign, like instead of spending so much money on the attacking side, if they bought like a Koulibaly, their life would have been way more easier. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough season for Chelsea because I don't see anything that Frank can do tomorrow that will change the difference. Right? It's still going to be the same because this is what it's been for the last 7-8 months.
Yeah,
So it's
but
not.
let's see what
Mainstream.
happens. Sorry, let's see what happens when Mendy comes back in. I mean, the reason they thought
The centre backs are still
it's
going to be bad, even if
yeah.
Mendy comes in.
Yeah.
The
The thing
centre
is,
backs are still going to be bad.
the thing is, I think a lot of focus was on Kepa because they thought, okay, the reason why we're losing games or the reason why we were drawing games last season was Kepa. But I think they have to look at the entire defense as a unit, rather just not on
No,
that one person.
but even Kepa is playing a major role in that because
True,
he's short. His confidence is short right now that he
Exactly.
can't do
If
anything.
you
Yeah,
notice
true.
that Zuma
My
back pass,
point.
he went for that sliding thing to just go into the ball.
exactly.
There was no confidence, nothing. It was just like he was waiting to just
Yeah,
the ball to move, and he just wanted to go down to show he
exactly.
made an
That
effort.
moment was the
Ex-
perfect moment to represent how Kepa is feeling because any other keeper right now would have kicked that ball at least to the corner.
Correct.
Minimum, he would have done that.
No,
So
that is right. I understand what it is saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is there's no point in actually replacing only the keeper. It should have been the entire defensive unit. So I
no,
don't think
but
Mendy coming in is going to
uh,
actually change their fortunes for the
oh,
better massively.
yeah,
I think they will still struggle with Mendy in. Maybe if they keep faith with Mendy and they give him like a run of games because he's coming from a different league, totally different league and totally different
yeah,
team.
yeah.
Maybe if they hopefully they keep faith so that they can get like the
Yeah,
defense gets more find this game.
instead of conceding 3 goals, they concede 2 goals. That's
Yeah,
the
But on that subject, since you guys we are talking so much about the defense, isn't this the reason why Thiago Silva was signed by Frank to bring a lot of experience into the squad?
Gautam loved that signing, but I never understood the Thiago Silva signing. It's like
me. No.
it's even worse than the Cavani signing by United. At least Cavani is like
What do you
32,
mean it's
33.
worse than the Cavani signing? Cavani has not even stepped on the pitch, da. Don't be these United fans, Sashank.
Cavani was like that Falcao last minute signing. It was no
Not
planning.
was. We still haven't seen Cavani. Watch him on midweek.
If he's amazing or not, it's completely a risk. It's based on how Cavani looks, not based on any football analysis that they've made that decision. It's just complete belief that Cavani will come and perform. That's it.
No,
That's
actually,
it.
I think the Cavani thing has been on for a while, but it just took time because Cavani was not sure if that was what he should have been. It was not United in doubt because if you notice, if you had gone through the first couple of interviews of Cavani, what he had mentioned was that Rio Ferdinand and RVP have both been in touch for more than 2 months since the Premier League started or something
Oh,
like
wow,
that.
that doesn't matter. Both of them don't work for the club. Rio
Yes,
or
exactly. No, the thing is, both of them.
You're just stating that you depend on ex players to actually do the job that players in the club should. I mean, sorry, people in the club should be doing.
No, see, listen, we all know that Woodward is not capable. Okay, there's no point with that. See, it was thrown by United early on. He was not convinced or he didn't know if this was the right thing. So he had spoken to them and they had told him that this was the best thing and what he would offer. So if you notice Cavani, the first thing and only thing he said was, I'm here to only provide experience. I'm not here to be the number 9 every game or something. So let's just wait and give Cavani a chance before we
No,
consider.
I'm not blaming Cavani or slamming him. I'm just saying that there was no like
It did
proper
not make logical sense.
yeah, there was no
Given
logical
the need for the team, what they
exactly
needed and what they bought was two different things. Cavani is not
exactly
going to fill centre back against PSG in your
yeah.
upcoming UCL game.
Okay, guys, we're going to hold on to that for a while. Let's get back to that. I think
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got 3 completely different opinions, or maybe 2v1. I think we'll have a discussion on that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, to just end off this fixture in the Chelsea game, do you think Werner has started to score goals? Do you think he could make the difference in these games to add a few goals to outscore their defensive mistakes? Sashank?
I don't know if they do that, make up for all this because he tried yesterday. He had one of his best performances and still they ended up drawing the game. So I don't know it's enough to make up, but he'll be amazing for sure because
Okay.
he's one of the best players in the world. So I have no doubt that Werner will be a big success.
Yeah, I just want to add that Shashank is saying this because he got Werner in his FPL team. And
Yeah, my persistence paid off finally.
But I think I've always believed this from the beginning of the season is that the key to this the attacking talent that Chelsea have is Pulisic, and once Pulisic came on field, you could actually see a marked improvement in the way Werner and Havertz played. Maybe with Ziyech in, you're going to see like a big jump in the way they play. But hopefully, if they can keep Pulisic and Ziyech like injury free, or at least like playing for most of the games over the season, you will see Timo Werner actually like you won't you like there's always been these claims that the first season the Premier League is going to be very difficult for any player. I don't think that's going to be the case for Timo Werner. Should Pulisic and Ziyech continue like come into the squad and like continue to support him.
So I think what you said was correct. Like Werner, as it grows on, he's going to become a great centre forward because he already is known to be. And this season has really been unpredictable, dude. And I think the point where you mentioned of people needing to adapt has now gone. If you are good enough, I think you can adapt. And Bruno Fernandes right now is the most prime example, dude. He flew in 48 hours or 72 hours. He played his first game, and he's not stopped there. So I think Werner can do it, and with the squad they have, he should be able to do it. So anyway, guys, moving on from that, our final fixture for the day: Spurs West Ham. Nurushan, go all out.
Lanzini, you legend.
I actually want to appreciate the 16 people who captained Lanzini in their FPL game last week. You guys had more faith than I think even most West Ham fans had.
Even more faith in Dave Moyes has.
Yeah, Moise. Well, like looking at the first half, Spurs, I actually like with respect to like the season, the beginning of the season that they had, the start of the season that they had, Spurs had one of the most congested fixtures because they were like traveling for their Europa qualifiers to some unknown places and then coming back to play a Premier League game. And Spurs did not look like a team that has been on the road for a long time. They look so good. They look like actually a very good title contender team until the 85th minute, I think. The I have no idea how I don't know what has gone wrong with them in whether it was luck against them or because even Gareth Bale during the game he had like a one-on-one chance which he would have placed, he would have planted if it was like I don't know 5 years ago or something. But then there was like Spurs, they are a very good team. They have the resources. They have a very cunning manager. I think moving forward, if I don't know I don't know what went wrong for them. Like in terms of was it personnel? Because I think the Davison Sanchez own goal was very unlucky.
Yeah.
The Valbuena goal was a good goal. The Lanzini goal was it was like a 1 in 100 shot. Like you take 100 shots and only one of them will go into the goal.
Even lesser than that.
Maybe who knows. So like I think this is going to be a one-off result for Spurs, but it is a very demoralizing defeat, and let's see if they can actually bounce back from this. They have 3 good fixtures coming up, and let's see if they can put this back or whether this will continue to play in the minds.
But Narshan, like you said, this is the most important thing, right? So if you don't take your chances, the opponents are always going to punish you. And this is, like, I think, the most important example for all the teams who are looking to not get a chance at the title, with Liverpool possibly having their troubles. Shashank, so would you say that Spurs could have done better, or is this what Spurs are and we are expecting way too much of them?
Are you talking about this game or generally till now this season?
Spurs and their season so far.
Okay, this season actually, if you look at the season till now, they have I think scored about 16 goals in the Premier League in these 4 games, and still
there was one anomaly. The United game was an anomaly in my opinion.
Yeah, but even they scored 5 against Southampton. They scored 3 against West Ham. So they scored like a lot of goals in the first 4 Premier League games. But they have only 8 points. United are 2 points behind Spurs with 1 game in hand. City are 1 point behind Spurs with 1 game in hand. So Spurs are really Arsenal are 1 point ahead, even though they lost 2 games. So I think Spurs are, even though they've played so well attacking, they still don't have points. So if you don't if you keep losing points like they say, the same way they lost in the last minute in the Newcastle game due to a bad VAR decision.
Mm.
So if they keep, dropping points like this, of course they're not going to be able to, sustain a title challenge. But I believe this season now that Liverpool, have with the issues that they have, City generally they're not as good as the team they were 2 years back. So I think that's going to be, last time it was like 99, 100 points. Now it's going to be say 80s. You can win the title, maybe high 80s. You can win the title. So you got to see which team does that. Can Spurs do that? Yes, because if you see, they have two players for every position right now in their squad. And Daniel Levy has done amazing this transfer window and last transfer window. So they have a great team, but we have to see how, because playing in the Europa, we know how bad it is. United Arsenal, they've been playing the Europa for the last few years, so we know how awful it is. So it's going to be tough to play Thursday, Sunday, and they have to go to manage the entire season. So I don't think Spurs are ready, but they're still in the conversation. After City, you tell one team, they'll probably be Spurs.
Yeah, when you look at the on paper, when you look at a squad, Spurs are up there. But
Yeah,
what matters is what
amazing.
comes on the field.
Field.
Because
They don't
even
have
when
the
you look at
winning
this,
experience.
yeah. So even when you look at this fixture, everybody thought, okay, Spurs will have an easy run against West Ham. It's going to be like a comfortable win, but that wasn't the case, and that's the unpredictable nature of football.
Exactly. That's the thing now. We can't go on paper and say, okay, it's going to be an easy fixture because we don't know right now.
No.
Villa beating Liverpool 7-2, these kind of results, so anything can happen now. And that was Liverpool with Van Dijk. So
Yeah.
anything can happen now. So it's going to be an unpredictable season. Let's see, we don't know.
So, like you guys mentioned, Levy has done an amazing job. And which season is there when he's not done good? So, I don't think we need to even give a specific mention. He's
Yeah,
probably the best guy there right now to run a
yeah.
football club in the
I
Premier
think
League.
yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, guys, with that, we've wound up with that segment. So, let's move on to the second segment. Shashank, there are plenty of games. We don't need to discuss everything. We can dive into just the key fixtures. Two games we're going to talk about: PSG versus United and Bayern versus Athletic. Let's start with Bayern versus Athletic. Do you think Bayern are going to retain the Champions League? Even though, yes, Real Madrid were the first team to do it and have done it, do you think Bayern have it in them after selling Thiago and some key players, but also making signings? Do you think they're going to have a strong start, and what do you make of them so far?
I've not watched too many Bayern games this season because Premier League is the only one that I'm really interested in. So Champions League will be the first time that we'll get the opportunity to see these teams again. I'm not sure how Atletico or Bayern are going to do, but of course Thiago is a massive loss for Bayern. But they still have a great squad, and I don't think Atletico are in the best of form yet. They got Luis Suarez, but still, Suarez it's not the old Suarez. So it's going to be probably, in these fixtures, we know that the group stage doesn't really matter unless, you're in the third or fourth spot. Otherwise, the group stage don't matter, and the real Champions League starts in February. So I think we'll have a proper preview at that time. But right now, I don't think Bayern are going to, win it back to back. It's too tough because the only team who did that really well who won it 3 times in a row was Madrid, and that squad was unbelievable. The squad is not as good as that Madrid squad, so I don't think they'll do it again.
Okay. So, Nirushan, when I want to ask you about this fixture, you being the tactician amongst us, what do you think? What do you think Atletico has to do to get a win here?
Well, I think they should just stick to what they do normally, as in play very compact. Because right now, like Shashank said, they're missing Thiago. They also have lost Leroy Sané as well. So just looking, I watched a couple of the preseason games, and they've always used Leroy Sané as the outlet, pretty similar to what Vardy was during the Leicester's title campaign. So he would stay away from like the rest of the field, and like someone would just hoof the ball into space, and Vardy would run in. Now they've lost Leroy Sané. So we all know Atletico Madrid are very good in like actually putting in a low block, and I think if they stay true to that low block and have Luis Suarez, they have two bullies up top, Luis Suarez and Diego Costa. If Diego Simeone gives them the freedom to do what they have to do, I think Atletico Madrid can probably they either they will get sent off, they'll get somebody else sent off, and ensure that Atletico Madrid gets some sort of a result, like a positive. It can be a draw or a win. But let's see. I think Bayern will struggle a bit. That's what I think about the fixture.
But I think even if Bayern do struggle, it's okay, right? Like you said, it's a group game. There are plenty of games you can always make up for it. And yes, Ashank.
No, yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, so I think it's okay to say that Bayern will do decent, if not win as needed. But anyway, let's find out about that. And the last fixture before we finish with the segment, guys, PSG versus United. Sashank, you're the one I have to throw this to. How are you excited that we are again getting a rematch with PSG? Obviously, we didn't need a rematch considering we had gotten the result. So, do you think this fixture is going to start having its own history or own mind games every time it goes on because of how both teams are now there in the Champions League again and again? And with Maguire missing, what do you think United are going to line up as?
Exactly, that's the biggest problem. Like, not only Maguire, Bai is also injured, and then like Lindelof is the only fit centre back we have right now. So it's going to be a big problem. Yeah, the PSG United fixture is becoming interesting because of the modern history, but PSG continue to be one of those teams I don't like for several reasons. But tomorrow's fixture might be, my bad one for United because I don't know. Either Oli has to play Axel Tuanzebe, who has not played for about a year now, or he has to play the youngster Mengi, or he has to decide and shift and play a three at the back with Van Bissaka, Lindelof, and Shaw. That's the only option where he can, kind of face that pace of Mbappe and Neymar, which is really going to, kill United. I don't know. This game might be one of those another 6-1 or 7-2. It could possibly go, but the only hope is that PSG are not yet in full form. They also just started the season, so they might not be yet, and they have few injuries. They also have some issues. So let's see. It might be a good game because these kind of games suit United because they can sit back and then counter these teams because PSG we know are going to have the ball position and they're going to try and attack as much as they can. So United can counter with those paces. So and it looks like it's going to be Martial, Rashford mostly back again. So I think it could be interesting. And Bruno's first game as the captain. So it could be a good game. What do you think, Vika?
I think it's going to be a good game, Doug, considering, yes, there are two games, it's just a group game, but PSG are not going to forget what has happened because of how things happened. And they were so close to also getting the Champions League title last year. So for them, they need to make a strong statement and they need to be very consistent to be a title contender to get the Champions League, obviously. And dude, as we said, United again, we don't have the rest that we needed. And I'm not saying that as a very key factor. It's just something that which will play a part. So apart from that, I think it is going to be a game decided by whoever starts well. It's going to be that team rather than what has happened, which is going to decide the result so far, with saying people are coming into form or people have played enough games and all that. But I think United will get a result. For some reason, I just feel that it is there, man. Because this has always been the thing. Whenever Ole is against the wall, he gets a couple of results, and then the talk goes on, and then again things go downwards. So,
exactly, dude. That's what he always does. He's on the brink of getting sacked, and then he gets like 2-3 good results, and then again it goes on this way. And this is a cycle. I don't know when it's going to change, but yeah, we'll see.
This season, it's going to change, Sashank. Keep the flag flying high.
No, that's Chelsea's.
Chelsea.
It's okay. We'll take it. We need it. So, anyway, Narushan, anything to add to that fixture?
I think if PSG play the way that they played, like in the last Champions League, maintaining a high line, I believe that Martial and Rashford, and quite possibly if Greenwood is playing, their pace can cause a lot of. He's not playing?
No, he's out for this year.
All right. Yes. So then Martial's and Rashford's pace will cause a lot of problems. And the other thing is Van Bissaka will have to have a phenomenal like Maldini combined with Cafu combined with Nesta, all the top Serie A Italian defenders in the 90s. He'll have to have a combined performance.
He has to lock down Mbappe.
Yes, logged on Mbappe and quite possibly even Neymar because Neymar also likes to drift to the left, which is Van Bissaka's right. So the right, whoever's playing along that right channel for United will have to be on the toes, and this allows them to overload. This allows United to overload on the left. And the other thing is PSG are without Verratti. I think Verratti is quite by far one of the most underrated players in the PSG squad, and because they're without Verratti, the midfield battle can be won by United. So they will need to play someone who can actually play balls across the field from the midfield, like a deep lying midfielder. So if they have someone like Matic will have to look to progress the ball upwards. He should not make a side or a back pass. He should just look to progress the ball to the left channel where you have Martial and Rashford, and that pace can actually break the pace.
Pogba will take care of it.
I did not
VK reaction.
we will go on a rant.
That's United.
I did not bring in Pogba because we will go on a rant, but I think this game will suit Pogba.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
he'll be waiting.
that's what he does. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
what
he
he
missed
does.
He missed
You guys
the
have to
game.
learn. Sorry, Sashank, let me go here. I need to talk. So the thing is, this Pogba thing really needs to stop, dude. See, it's been 1.5 years, okay? Every game, all the commentators says that Pogba has played an amazing pass, but it's not reached anywhere, and it's not what we expected out of him. But let's see if he can make a pass. Go back, you'll hear this at least thrice in every game he's played, dude. He's beyond it. He's past it at United.
You've seen his performance for France.
That is it. I said at United.
Because
At
he's
United. He's done
exactly. So the thing is, maybe it's you have to change personnel. You have so many good playmakers like Pogba. You have Bruno. You have Van de Beek. Van de Beek is from one of the world's best footballing schools, Ajax. All right, and you're not even playing him.
I wish.
I think it's time that
Question.
yeah, I believe that you have so much personnel. When you have the personnel, why are you so stuck to a system? If you're going to be stuck with the system, you shouldn't have bought Van de Beek because he's not going to fit in the system that Ole plays right now. Either you change the system or you go get the personnel. You got the personnel or you change the system.
I agree with you. It would have been a simple give and take in the transfer window. Sell Pogba for at least 60-50 million. Bring in Sancho. All problems were solved.
Dude, Pogba is worth 120 million.
I said at least just to get him out. The lowest fee you could have done would have been that.
Personally speaking,
what are you talking about, VK?
I'm saying the lowest guy. You could have just gotten him out easily. You could have sold him. I'm saying you didn't need to keep him. You asked for 120. Nobody's going to pay today.
Dude, they're asking 120 for Sancho. And Pogba
Yeah,
is World Cup winning.
but did we pay? That's the point. You can ask anything. Will a team pay for 120? Nobody's going to pay today. That is the truth.
Dude, we paid 89 for him.
That was a season before, not this season. Now nobody's.
5 years back.
The only team who's thrown money this season has been Chelsea, and that reason because they had a ban, they saved up all the money. Otherwise, there's nobody who's been throwing it. Apart from City, who will go on throwing. That's a different thing. The emails will be leaked. They'll go handle one legal case, come back saying we're clean, and then people ask for forgiveness. So that is
There's 40 million on Ake and Ruben Diaz.
That's what City are always going to spend. We can't go into that.
Yeah, we'll have this conversation later. Next episode.
Anyway. So, guys, with that, we're done with the segment. But would you like to add anything to finish it up?
No, just hoping, like you said, we get a result at PSG. Let's see.
Okay. But
keep faith in Pogba. That's all I will say.
Sorry, buddy. I have more faith in you than in Pogba. Anyway, guys, with that, thank you for that. With that, we'll end the segment. And with that, let's move on to the final segment, Fergie time. Guys, in Fergie time, we do not have anything to show from our last week predictions because we were supposed to get an episode midweek, but we could not do that. Anyway, let's see what we have in store for this week. So, we have United-Chelsea is a key game. Aston Villa leads, two teams performing well above what they expected. I think that should be a good game. Aston Villa still unbeaten, 4 of 4, so that's important for them to keep it. Liverpool are facing Sheffield on another time. That could have been an interesting fixture, but I think with how Sheffield are playing, Liverpool should get back to winning ways. Arsenal versus Leicester. Nirushan, I think that's going to be the fixture. So, guys, we're going to have our predictions without Gautam. I think I'll just give you guys the predictions. Sashank, United versus Chelsea.
I don't know, man. Both teams concede goals, so I think there's going to be goals in this. So I'm going to go with a draw. So I'll go with the 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Okay, that's the belief you have in United and Chelsea. Nirushan, I can give you Arsenal, Leicester, but I know that Leicester are not with their full squad, so Arsenal are going to get that win. Let's see where do you stand with the interesting fixture. Wolves versus Newcastle.
Wolves. Wolves.
Really? Wolves with the home
Yeah.
game?
Wolves.
Yeah.
Wolves will comfortably win by 2-0.
Really?
Dude, of course, Wolves, even United beat Newcastle. That means 100%. 100%
But you
Wolves
guys
will
are
win.
going against the run of the unpredictable Premier League, man. So you said 2-0 to Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've given Wolves 2-0 and Shashank, you've picked 2-2 draw for the United Chelsea game.
So which one for you? VK, wait, we'll pick a game for you. Nilshan, you want to throw him one? You don't have to-
Leeds versus Aston Villa.
Yeah, Aston Villa Leeds. What do you think about that?
Villa Park, right? So the game's at Villa Park. I'll go for 2-1.
It doesn't make a difference.
No, I think it's going to be 2-1 Villa.
Okay. So you're saying Villa 5 out of 5?
Yeah, why not? It's just Leeds.
They'll be table toppers, I think.
But if
depends on what they have-
Everton wins the game, they'll still retain the top spot, right?
Yeah, Villa have one game in hand, but that game is sure victory because that's against United. Another 7-2. So what? 2-1, huh? Your prediction?
I'm telling you,
Yeah, 2-1.
that game is going to be a Pogba masterclass. Just wait and watch.
Oh, God. You and your
You're getting
mouth.
VK after another epic rant.
Uh, Okay, guys, with that, I think we've come to the end of the episode. I think it's been a very happening one amongst us. We've got a lot of points which we didn't even think we would have to discuss. And viewers, thank you for tuning in. It's been another happening week of football, happening week here at the Flagged Off Podcast. And we'd like to keep this going. Thank you so much for watching the episode. And if you would like to support the channel, please do like and subscribe to our channel. Nirushan and Shashank, any final words before we sign off?
Nothing, VK. No final.
Pogba masterclass incoming
Oh, God, I wanted that.
next Tuesday.
That's the reason I asked that question. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. And have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Yeah.